For the first time in my life, after going on a couple dates with a guy, I had to send the dreaded text message today telling him that, I appreciate going on dates and I've enjoyed getting to know you, but I just don't see this going any further. And when I tell y'all that I have never felt more like an evil villain in my life, I was sick over sending this today because this guy was so nice, and the dates weren't bad. I had fun and I could definitely see us being friends. Obviously didn't suggest that because what a punch in the face. But I don't know how people do this. I don't think I can go on dates anymore because the thought of having to do this again, makes me sick to my stomach. And I've never felt more evil. Which, I know I'm not, and, that's just how dating works, but horrible experience. Horrible.
So what happens in a lot of cases is that these women are so used to going for the playboys, and when they meet a decent guy, they find him boring. Now, there is a difference between good guys and nice guys. If she was not feeling the spark with this guy, it's just probably a sign that this guy doesn't really know how to make women feel engaged and connect with them. It could also mean that there was no chemistry, right? So I'm not discounting that. But when ladies meet nice guys, they're going to be pandered to. And nice guys tend to think that because they give in to the lady whatever she desires, and that they're always going to be agreeable with her. And if her favorite color is blue, then suddenly your favorite color is blue. They become so agreeable that they start to emulate the person that they're with. What ends up happening is what's happening here is that the relationship becomes depolarized. You no longer have a masculine and a feminine. You just have a neutral type of relationship where there's not going to be any magnetism between you and that person. And this girl might not be able to understand fully what she's experiencing. And again, it could be because of her own issues and what she's used to, but most likely it's going to be because of how the guy is trying to connect with her. So even though on paper it seems like he's doing the right things because he's being nice, there's not going to be a real connection because this guy is, instead of being authentic, he's being agreeable.
My ex was a really good man. In fact, I've seen a lot of people on this app talk about breaking up with the nice guy. And I have related quite a bit to that because there wasn't a single big blowout reason for the breakup. It was actually just a lot of smaller things. The big overarching reason is, candidly, I just had a feeling that it wasn't right. But I did actually force myself to write 3 big reasons down that I could really anchor myself to as I'm going through this process.
Before she says the 3 reasons, I just want to touch on the fact that a lot of women, you're going to have your outliers, okay? You're going to have the outliers that are women who are going to be very masculine and they want to be dominating, and then they get in with a nice guy, and then you have this backwards and upside down relationship where the woman is more masculine and the man is more feminine, and it's going to be its own recipe for disaster. But in most cases, in most scenarios, women are going to be feminine, and when they get together with a nice guy, even though it all seems to make sense, like I said, because he seems to be treating you well, he seems to always like the things you like to do, he seems to be very caring, seems to be very pleasing, something inside of them will tell them that something's off. They're going to get the ick, if you will. That's what they call it, right? They get the ick. And that comes from the sense that if the guy's not truly being honest with her, they're just being pandered to. And she's going to realize that you are not being authentic. You're hiding how you really feel. You're balling things up, and it's going to come in one way or the other. She's essentially not going to be able to relax around you because she's not really going to know exactly what she's dealing with when she's dealing with you.
Some days I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, did I make the wrong decision? Because he was such a great guy and a lot of our relationship was super, super positive. Those 3 reasons came down to: number 1, we didn't have amazing communication. Number 2, I didn't love our dynamic when we moved in together. And number 3, there were several big blowout fights where I felt like I really lost my emotional connection to the relationship.
Okay, so her 3 reasons are communication, dynamic, and the fights. All the 3 reasons she gave are all interconnected, okay? When you're dealing with a nice guy, although he seems nice on the outside, he's not going to really fully communicate with you because he's always going to hide the way he truly feels about things. That is going to cause a dynamic shift in your relationship because he's always going to be kind of catering to you, and he's not going to be leading you properly because it's going to be whatever you want, where you want to go eat, honey, what do you want to do, where do you want to go on this date. It's going to reverse the roles of the masculine and the feminine in the relationship. And then not only that, but as the tension builds and he keeps bottling up his feelings because he's not communicating properly, it is going to blow out into fights, because either you're going to get tired of dealing with that situation and that dynamic, or he is going to get tired also of playing that part of feeling like he has to cater to you for everything instead of expressing himself. And when that blows up into a fight, it's not gonna it's gonna get ugly. So a lot of people sometimes rush to blame the ladies for breaking up with the nice guys, and they're like, well, now, because the big mistake they make sometimes is that they break up with these nice guys, and then they go and find like the players that are going to treat them poorly. So the idea is not to go from one extreme to another extreme. You have to find somebody that's going to be a balanced person, and then you go and try to enter a relationship in a fully conscious way, rather than just trying to seek the opposite of whatever you had before that didn't work out for you.
And it's really interesting. I actually think a part of the reason why I really forced myself to come up with these reasons and really articulate them was because I was feeling a little embarrassed when I would talk to friends about why I decided to make this decision, especially because from the outside looking in, they were like, oh my God, what happened? We thought you guys were perfect. We thought you guys were going to go all the way. But I was actually really validated today when I got lunch with a few work colleague friends, right? And one of them just moved in with his girlfriend, and their relationship happened really, really quickly. And when he was talking about her, he just said, it was just like our first date, and I really just knew that this was my person. And it was kind of ironic because I told him, I was like, good for you, I'm going for a breakup. And he was like, oh my God. And after a while he did ask, he's like, can you, are you able to share? And I was like, it just wasn't right. And he was like, honestly, I really, really understand that. And I really just felt like, when I hear about people who say in their relationships, I just knew it was right, I just had this feeling. I think those people really understand the art of, hey, this wasn't working for me, so I needed to exit. I guess what does make it hard is, early on in my relationship, I actually did feel that way.
Two different things. So at first, just because somebody was able to have a long-term relationship that led to marriage because they knew from the first time, that's perfectly fine. All right. I can attest to that. That is very true. That was very true for me. But I've done it also in the wrong way, which is the way most people do it. Just because it's possible to find that person and know from the beginning that this is it, that only works if you are somebody who is really dialed in into what you want, what you need, how relationships work, where you are in life, how much wisdom you have, how much discernment you have. Because if not, you're going to do it also the wrong way, where you're just going to rush into with somebody that you met and you think that's going to be all butterflies, and you're going to be completely infatuated and think that this is the right person, and you will crash and burn. So you cannot take that as the rule and the example for you to try to now go and think that you're going to feel you're going to feel the spark right at the moment from the first time you meet the person. And if you don't feel that, it's not it. And the same again for the reverse, that if you do feel it, that doesn't mean that this is the right person either. The primary thing you have to have is the knowledge and the wisdom and all of those other things that I mentioned, and to have enough discernment to get to know the person and know what you're dealing with, and know if this is going to be right for you or if you're right for them as well. Now, going back to the reality of what she went through, nice guys seem right on paper. So to her, even though she got the ick from the beginning, like she says, and I can totally see that happening, nice guys are really good at like hiding their feelings and camouflaging who they are. Whatever they do is going to be to try to cater to the person that they're with. So in her mind, as the recipient of that, even though she has something tingling her senses that something might be off, her brain is going to try to rationalize this and be like, well, he's so nice though, but he's so good. Oh, but he's treating me so well. She's going to go through with the relationship, and now she's experiencing the outcomes of that. My fatherly advice for anybody in this type of situation is that you have to see beyond the surface level. Just because somebody is catering to you, you're gonna have to develop enough sense to trust some of your instincts. And if you're a lady, you're gonna have to try to figure out what the guy is really all about, because there's a lot of nice guys out there that will treat you apparently well, but on the inside they have a different agenda, and it's because they want something in exchange, whether that be a relationship, whether that be sex, whether that be that they think you're going to treat them well because they're treating you well. It's always an exchange. And if you're one of these guys, you're watching this video, you're gonna really have to do the self work, because the more you try to cater to somebody, and I know a lot of men have been taught that, that's how I was taught, is that if you just try to make the other person happy and pleased, that's going to come back to you, and nothing could be farther from the truth. The most important thing to have in a relationship is authenticity, and authenticity is going to be the main driver of attraction between two people, because if you are not authentic, if you're hiding who you really are, eventually will blow up in your face. But anyway, that's all I got for today. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, and I will see you on the next one.